How's
can take
everybody
it somewhere.
doing tonight? Are you ready to receive your dose of taint? My cohorts, are you ready to dole out a good dollop of disdain? I don't know, taintiness.
Will be eventually.
Okay, good. Let's get to it. Let's get right down to the brass tacks about what we're doing tonight. I hope your ears are primed and your body is ready for what we're about to lay down upon you. All right? I hope you are prepared for the level of just sheer tainty goodness that we will be dispensing tonight, because not only do we love talking about the Wheel of Time, because I mean that's kind of our shtick. It's what we do. It's what we do. Like, and you know, some people are like, "Oh yeah, you guys talk about the Wheel of Time every week," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's more like every day. It's more like we talk about the Wheel of Time every day, but we record it once a week, and sometimes, you know, additional sprinklings here and there. And we've talked about a breadth of different subjects. One of them, you know, being some of the things that we didn't like about it, some of the things that we probably, you know, could have done without. But, you know, in the end, we still established that it did still add something to the story. Well, today we decided that we're going to switch that pendulum over to the other side of things, because we can't leave that bad taste in your mouth. We got to leave this bad taste in your mouth, and that is things we love about the Wheel of Time. That's right. Tonight we're discussing things that we love about the Wheel of Time. Now the challenge with tonight is going to be narrowing it down to a 4-hour episode, because it's going to be real difficult. And you know, I hope you guys I love how both you guys are just like, yeah, 4-hour episode. Yep, we're going with it. But that's going to be the challenge. That's going to be the challenge is pulling it in and finding just a couple things that we that are standouts that we love the most. So, but before we get into that, should we protect those who may not be fully affiliated with the ways of the wheel?
Oh, I was just going to say we should probably plug, and we should probably introduce ourselves.
Oh yeah. Hey, everybody out there, my name is
I was just
Josh.
going with the flow, man. I was just like, if they've somehow made it to season 3, episode 37, and don't know who we are, then it's probably honestly for the best. So, but yeah. The gentleman you've heard talking this entire intro and doing a fantastic job at doing the speaking of the English is our very own Sorvon Mahale Josh. Very nicely done.
That's me. Thank you.
You and your Deadpool shirt.
The gentleman who just introduced the gentleman who did the intro is your Bijan.
Yeah,
welcome,
that's me.
Welcome. And then the gentleman you just heard speaking, who is introducing the man who introduced the show, is Daniel, the Amin Khan Mahale. Except no substitutes, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause. Also, it looks as though Amin Khan Mahale Daniel is he's filming live on location tonight.
That's Natrum's burrow behind you before the thing that we haven't given a spoiler warning for, right?
He's at the Natrum's Barrow Memorial site.
or is that Natrum's bungalow? I'm not sure. It's one of the two.
Bungalow.
Natrum's bungalow. No, it's actually a very nice Mexican restaurant that I am recording from, because I am on a road trip. My current leg is from Salt Lake City to North Butte, Nebraska.
Nice.
And
North Butte.
I'm halfway there.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I did have Daniel stop by to inspect the taint peppers for the taint sauce. If you want to, you need to go to our YouTube, check out our shorts or our TikTok, or look up hashtag Taint Watch on either of those, and you'll see our progress videos. And now that I've got the Amin Khan Mahale seal of approval, it is time to start saucing. So
I'm not gonna lie. I saw the TikTok earlier today, and when y'all were chatting in one of our chats earlier about connectivity issues, I was like, I've already seen the TikTok. You're not bullshitting me. I know he's there. And well, I was incorrect.
Yeah, no, he took off shortly after making that video. I put some foods in his belly, and then he drove away happy.
Also, I apologize. It's actually not North Platte.
Get your geological formations straight.
Oh,
God. Well,
we'll all be taking a trip. As you're listening to this, we will have started that trip the previous Wednesday, but for us, it's this coming Wednesday, Thursday time frame. We're all going to be in Columbus, Ohio, or as you're listening to this live publicly, we are in Columbus, Ohio, and I could be very wrong about that timeline. No, I'm right. This comes out on the 8th.
Yeah.
As you're listening
we will
to
not
live,
be there yet.
Yeah, and depending on what time you're listening to this live, some of us may be elbow, knee, balls deep in panels, because your boys will be doing panels at WoTCon 2022.
Panels on.
Yeah. So Daniel, we're each doing 2 panels. Daniel, do you remember what panels and times you're doing yours?
I will admit that I do not remember what time each panel is, but I will say the first one is The Great Stump, and the second is 5 Minutes in Heaven for episodes 7 and 8.
Yeah. So the Great Stump one is going to be Friday at 3:50 p.m. Eastern, and the 5 Minutes in Heaven for episode 7 and 8 is going to be Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And if you're not able to catch those panels, if you're there in person, or if you're not there at all and you've gotten yourself a virtual membership, all of these panels will be recorded and you'll be able to watch them after the con. They'll be working on uploading all of them as the con is going on. Josh, do you remember yours?
I do. Whilst my cohort, the Amin Khan Mahale, is at the Great Stump, I shall be discussing the finer points and deeper currents of the more refined lore of why we hate Gowan. Why is it important to hate Gowan? And that's going to be same thing, July 8th at 3:50 p.m. And then the next one that I've got is, oh boy, 5 Minutes of Heaven as well. But mine is episodes 5 and 6, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And that'll be Saturday, July 9th at 2:10 p.m.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing a little deep dive in those episodes of season 1 of the Wheel of Time.
Yep. And while Josh and Daniel are running a fun competition to see who gets more people at their panel earlier Friday, I will be waiting until Friday evening at 5 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be doing a post-canon speculation panel. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then the next day, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, and I'm going to compete playfully with Josh's panel attendance, as my panel, or the panel I'm on Saturday, is also at 2:10 p.m. And we will be doing WoT IRL, talking about some Wheel of Time culture stuff and real world inspirations to some extent. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're already talking about how we're going to pare all of this down. So if you're there, come and please check out the panels that we're on. Well, check out any of the panels. I can't just advocate for ours because Well, I can. I don't care.
You can.
Come and listen to our panels. You can watch and listen to all the other panels recorded later on. But no, come and find us panels you enjoy.
I have replenished my supply of Black Tower podcast wristbands. So if you can't see, I'm holding a bag right now in front of the camera. We have 3 of these bags. Come to WoTCon, get a wristband.
And I believe we plan on continuing our con tradition of maybe giving away some coins. Or did we agree to do that? Or am I talking out of my bunghole?
I mean, you always do that, but I believe, yes, we agreed to do something along those lines. Even if there's not coins, there's definitely going to be swag. But maybe we don't know. Maybe you just have to come and find out.
Stand a pretty good chance. So, because we'll be all over the place, all around the place. Oh, and as of today, so there's 3 breakout rooms for WoTCon where main scheduled programming, or not necessarily main, but scheduled programming will be happening. The 3 breakout rooms for panels. And then there's also going to be a 4th room that's going to be dedicated primarily to live recordings of different shows and podcasts and things of that nature. We will be occupying that room on Friday from 9 p.m. Eastern until at least 10:30, more likely than not, maybe even 11. We'll just see how things go. So if you're there and you're not going to go do some poker or whatever else they've got going on in the game room, I'm just assuming poker because it's a game room and I know somebody's bringing cards. Come on, swing by, and we invite everybody to come and crash the live recording. So if you're listening to this the night of the 8th and you're in Columbus, Ohio at WoTCon, come on down. We're waiting for you.
Absolutely. I'll be at the bar. I don't know where the bar is, but that's where I'll be.
There's a cash bar in the atrium.
Boom. I'm not going to lie. I thought you were about to say there's a Casbah. And I was like, I'm going to rock the Casbah.
I heavily considered it. But otherwise, other than all that stuff, if you do happen to miss that live recording, we will have it recorded. So you can catch it later on once it's edited and posted, and you can find that on our YouTube. And if you want an easy way to get all that, just go to blacktowerpod.com. It's way easier than searching us anywhere else, even though you can do that too. However you find us, we do greatly appreciate it.
Indeed.
But yeah, I think that's it for plugs, right?
WoTCon's the big one. Do not miss it. If you miss it. Oh, yeah. I've also got beer coasters that say flicker, 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 flicker. We're having fun with this, guys.
I should take one. I should take one to my shirt just to see if someone compliments it again.
Someone like, I don't know, the tweeter of chaos. Sneaky.
Curse me in my veteran style hearing.
Right?
That doesn't mean it's used to hearing. That means it's used to not being able to hear. So, but let's go ahead and protect the folks as we get ready to talk about tonight's much happier topic than the last style. You know what? Here, listen to the fancy words.
This is your Black Tower podcast, Wheel of Time, spoiler warning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to spoilers, but this is a beginning. If you continue to listen, you may be cursed with the knowledge yet to come. These curses may include knowledge that you are, in fact, just a farm boy. Drinking 1 glass of wine now leads to mustache pulling and a hell of a hangover. Resigning that you will never be as good with the ladies as your friends are. Realizing Androl is bae, regardless of your gender or sexual orientation. The inability to stop tugging your braid in anger, even if you don't have hair. And understanding that the word taint is simultaneously a noun, adjective, and verb. Discovering you have more titles than actual name. The BDE, also known as Big Dragon Energy, becomes undeniable. Finding yourself promising to read A New Spring and never getting to it. An uncontrollable urge to argue over inconsistent pronunciations. Knowing that hating Dawn is a responsibility, not a privilege. Again, there are no beginnings or endings to spoilers, but this is a beginning. You have been warned.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love
Thank
it.
you, registered nerd. Spoiler warnings
Thank you,
in.
registered nerd.
If you are a Patreon and you want to do a spoiler warning for us, please feel free to do so. And if you do one or do another one that you want us to potentially include or use, blacktowerpod@gmail.com. Record it, send it. And if you want music or something added to it, we can work on that and find something to add to it if you want it to sound all mysterious, or we'll figure something out. But we definitely welcome them. Can never have enough spoiler warnings because we try to cycle through all of them. Yeah. But yeah, we have a topic for tonight
We do.
that Josh already introduced.
That I did.
So let's get happy.
All right.
Because if
Daniel.
baby ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
What is a scene or part of the Wheel of Time that you love more than anything? What do you love more than a pig loves corn? What do you love more than pandas love bamboo? What do you love more than cats love murder?
All right, so I think I'm actually going with the scene where all of the Two Rivers villagers are, well, it's kind of like two parts, but it's in the same scene, and that is the twofold of in the Two Rivers, they're being attacked by Trollocs. There's a huge battle that they don't think they can win, and they've actually sent away a number of people, including Fail. Perrin is leading the battle. He definitely doesn't think he can win it. The White Cloaks aren't helping because they're a bunch of buttholes. And they decide to go ahead and put all of the women and children in the center of town. And it's two moments, effectively, which is Mistress Luhan going and fighting with the men, which is a great scene. And then, of course, looking at the White Cloaks and being like, you guys suck. And then also Fail showing up with a bunch of other Two Rivers folk, even though she had been sent away to make sure that she didn't die in the battle. Because the people from Emond's Field definitely think that they can do enough damage to the Trollocs that they're not necessarily just going to go run a bulldozer over everybody else in the Two Rivers, but they don't think they're making it out of Emond's Field. Right. So both of those moments are two moments that I absolutely love, which is slightly humorous because Faye is like my second least favorite character, but it is a fantastic moment, and it is a fantastically written scene, especially because it's one of those things where you really don't see it coming. Like even on a reread, I've looked and been like, it really does not telegraph this that much. I mean, other than the fact that on some level, Fael never really does what she's told. So sending her away means that she's coming back. But
that's a good point. That's a good point. If there's one thing you can count on Fael to do, it's the opposite of what she's been told to do. That's a really good point. No, I really like that scene too.
Tell me if she's told that by a person named Perrin Ibarra. At that point, it's like 100% chance she's doing the opposite. Anybody else, it's like 80%, maybe 90%, but like Perrin, it's off.
I think part of what I love about that particular scene is the juxtaposition of the professional soldier white cloaks that are standing by in the village green, just sitting there, and the women and children noticing, we're not going to do this. The men are not going to do this. They're not. that they can't. And they all sort of go, okay, fine. If you guys aren't going to do anything about it, we are. And they jump up.
Hold my beer.
Yeah. Well, and I love too that like even kind of Perrin has this kind of moment where he's like, you know, I need people over there. And all of a sudden, like women start going over there. And he's like, I need people over there. And women start going over there. And he's like, where are all these women coming from? And and I think he even stops and asks, he's like, what are you guys doing down here? And they go, oh yeah, the white cloaks aren't doing shit. So we came down to help because you guys need it.
It's a really good scene, like, because this is also one of the reasons I love it for all the reasons you guys have said as well. But this is one of the few times we get to see the build up to battle. We get to see the two rivers, Amon's Field, fortifying itself. So you have all of these farmers and sheep herders, and I'm imagining that, you know, that Sin Bowie was out there. I think it was Sin Bowie, right? It's the Thatcher, right? Yeah. Just see them like putting up these spike walls, and Sin Bowie is like, I'm helping, and he's out there like thatching all the palisades for no fucking reason. And they're just getting all this preparation right. And you have this mix of obviously Tam being there with his experience from the Honor Army. You have Perrin there just trying to go off of instinct. You have Fael, who, as much as I give Min so much credit for her off-page contributions, I don't give Fael enough, and I'll be upfront about that. But I know she was in the background being like, what we need to do is put up a bunch of pointy sticks and make them all come through one spot. It's called a fatal funnel. When we funnel all their forces through there, their numbers won't count for shit. Oh, I learned this from the movie 300. Because Fael has watched 300.
She has. That's fact.
But you get this look into like
extreme.
Yeah. But yeah, you get this look into like battle preparedness and some form of strategy forming with the knowledge of a pending attack. And I love it because we don't really get that from anywhere else. The most we get otherwise is like assembling forces on, I don't know, some field of Marilor. You know, something, you know, non-important that happens later on in the series.
Yeah, non-essential.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm partially in like panel-ish mode.
I actually just realized that it has one of the other parts that I actually really love, which is Perrin dealing with people who are smarter and better at preparing and more knowledgeable than him, but still need his go-ahead. Because they keep on coming to him not being like, hey, Perrin, what should we do? Because we're clueless. They keep on going to him and being like, hey, Perrin, can we do this? Perrin's like, yeah, actually sounds like a great idea that I never would have thought of. Please do that. And they're like, thanks for thinking of it, Lord Perrin. And he's like, that's not.
Yeah, and we had this brought up in our live chat too. This is something that it's a more broad like theme from the Wheel of Times that I like. But this idea that is kind of built into and is being broken down slowly but surely in our world, that women can't hold their own in a fight or shouldn't fight. And we see that religiously shattered in the Wheel of Time. Whether it's the Aes Sedai, whether it's historical like heroes like Brigida, whether it's the Maidens of the Spear, the Fardaris Mai, or the female inhabitants of Amon's Field, and in fact all of the two rivers. It is religiously broken down that anybody that has a burning and committed, will to fight for what they want has that ability to fight. It's kind of like I don't know why I just thought of this comparison, but everybody's saying Ratatouille, right? Anybody can cook.
Anyone
kind of the same here. Yeah. You know, and they
Anyone
explained it later on in the movie that it's like, it's not that just anybody can cook, it's that a good cook can come from anywhere. And you get the same thing with troops. You can have an amazing troop come from anywhere, any walk of life. I mean, how many people have joined like worldwide militaries and they came from like lives of poverty or lives of just pure oppression, or they came from lives of crime, and they join a military and it turns their life around and they get a second chance at life. So yeah, good fighters can come from anywhere.
It's true.
So D&D teaches that well.
True.
I love to use like the unsuspecting commoner, like farmer or whatever, as the guy that suddenly, you know, fucks up your entire party because y'all decided to piss off the wrong person. To where now like my party is afraid to like talk to a stable boy the wrong way.
Well, and you know, there's always the concept that someone defending their home against, you know, their backs against the wall, you will die, or, you know, so you better just give it your best. And the Emmets Fielders have that, and it's just such a desperate moment, and you really do get a sense of, you know, kind of going back to that story of Manetheren, and it's such a great callback to that, where the men, the women, the children, everyone gave it their all, and not a foot was given to the invading Trollocs that wasn't soaked in the blood of Manetheren. And
so think of the story, they fight for three or 4 days before the adult citizenry of Manetheren rushes in, because they're like, they need help. And then they last for like what, another
like
10 days?
Weeks? Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
Well, it's I think it's ultimately by like the 14th day, the armies of Manetheren finally falls, and that's whenever the queen finally goes, you know what? Trump card.
It's time for the final flash attack.
Yeah.
Elisande.
Yeah, there we go. I didn't want to butcher her name because I was like, no, I just wasn't doing it. She did too much to have me butcher her name.
Karai on
Yeah.
on Elisande.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So good. So good.
What about you, Josh? Pick a beloved moment, or a loved moment, or an enjoyed moment, or whatever modifier we're using for that.
I will say, I get exactly what you mean. And a moment that I just really, really loved, that to this day, like, I have an impression in my mind of reading through the first time, was the cleansing of Saidin. And there's two things that I love about it. First off, I'd been saying from the beginning of the books, like, oh, they've got to figure out a way. They've got to figure out a way. They've got to figure out a way. And then, of course, they do. And it is this just gigantic battle royale. It's, you know,
with
utilizing
cheese?
more of the, yeah, that's right. It's utilizing more of the power than anybody's ever utilized and ever in the history of ever. And the book ends with Ashaman seizing Saidin and going, it's clean. It's clean. And it's like this huge battle ends in a quiet exclamation that they did it, that they were successful. And I love it. I love it so much. The second aspect of this scene that I absolutely love is that the next book is kind of like a flashback, right? Goes back in time and covers point of views from other people while Saidin is being cleansed, while this battle is raging. And every person in the world who can channel is going, what the fuck is happening over there? No, really. That is not okay. Someone is channeling way more than they should be able to, or a whole group of someone's are channeling way more. And, people start sending scouts after everything is over with. And all they find is a gigantic ass crater where Shidar Logoth used to be.
Well, it's crazy. They're getting three sensations at the sensation from three places at once.
Yeah.
They're getting men are getting it from Tremoncian. So this is that village that Rand and Matt and them were going by, and there was this massive statue being unearthed holding a crystal sphere. So male channelers are getting this sense from Kyrian, which is where Tremoncian is located in, and they're getting it from Shadar Logoth, the stay the fuck away from place. And then female channelers are getting it from like way across the fucking ocean, like in Tremel King and in Shadar Logoth. So you have this collective world of people that are like, what's going on? And then around the statues, it's described as you have all of these people that they don't know what's going on, but they can see the crystal spheres shining brilliantly. And they're all going, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
And with Tremel King, you're having the, what is their name? It starts with an A. They make all the porcelain. Amayar. No, the Amayar. The peaceful Amayar.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That reside on Tremel King as part of the Seafolk. The land-based Seafolk. This is their Mayan calendar. It is the end times. It's time to drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah. Because that's what they do. So it's such a notable event that an entire... Huh?
Oh, I just said Flavor Aid. Because it's
really,
really funny to me that they didn't even use Kool-Aid. They used discount Kool-Aid.
Oh, yeah.
At least Amayar had the decency to use real. I just made myself sad.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. So, sorry if I ask you to repeat a bunch of stuff because like the connection for me is kind of dropping in and out a little bit. I want to make sure I don't miss a snippet of what you have to say. But like again, like kudos to you to making a recording from the room. Like nobody can fault you. Like you made a recording on a road trip. Like come on.
Yeah. The real MVP.
But I am happy to do so. It's a little unstable.
Oh, a little unstable, just like the rest of us. My best friends are unstable.
That's right.
But no, it's this incredible event that for so many people like that aren't channelers, they can see something incredible is happening. To the point of it being again like a Y2K, a Mayan 2012 scenario for an entire subculture of people.
Yep. Yeah.
And I believe it actually resulted in did it melt both of the access keys for the Choden Call?
Yes.
That's a lot of power.
They hint at other keys existing, but I don't know that they ever find another one.
Well,
I don't think that one, but I think it's twofold because it's first of all actually only one of them that melts because one of them is still fine. One of them melts. And then they also suggest that there's other keys out there. And it's also suggested in a one-off throwaway line that since they can make new Terangrial now, that they may be able to recreate the female Choden.
Yeah. Which is terrifying.
Yeah. This is also another like unique example that we get. The forces of light, the defenders of Rand and Nynaeve, not including them in the count. The forces of light outnumber the forces of shadow. Like if you're going to go like percent, like decimal point wise, more than 2-1, but essentially 2-1. There are 16 individuals that are there that defend Rand. 15 if you don't count a very particular brown sister who technically, by technicality, isn't one of their allies, but definitely isn't an enemy. Definitely is an ally. We all know what Varen does. But even then, if you count 15, more than 2 to 1 oppose the forces of the shadow, because
Yeah.
so in the force of the shadow you have Arengar, you have Sindine, who is of course the reborn Lanfear. You have Demandred, Grendel, Mogideon, Cimarog, and Osengar. And Osengar is reborn Agenor, and Arengar is reborn Balthamel, right?
Right. Wait. Yeah, I think so.
So
Yeah,
of the forces of the enemy, you have 3 that have been reborn, including one of the ones reborn. You have 2 that are mind trapped into being there. And you got the guy who should have the most disposable power, the Nay Bliss, that's just like, no, I'm cool. I'll just chill.
I
You guys
like
got
how
this.
I like how though that even the Forsaken are like, gee, like how much power is being wielded? Shit. Like even the Forsaken are a little wary at this point. And I really like that. That's a lot of fun. That's a good time.
What
about
about
you,
the
Andrew?
male Ashaman that was a Forsaken? Are you talking about Deshiva?
Deshiva.
That is exactly
Alright.
who they're talking about. And isn't he one of the ones you mentioned?
I think isn't he Arengar?
I thought he was Arengar.
That's what I said. Isn't he Arengar?
Yeah.
No, he's
that's what I'm
Osengar.
agreeing.
Osengar.
He's Osengar. Okay.
Osengar. The Shiva is Osengar, who is the reborn Arengar. So yeah, I counted him.
That's what I thought.
I counted him amongst the enemy.
Yes.
But definitely good catch there. For those of you that don't know why I'm saying good catch and who I'm saying good catch to, come over to the live chat, join our Patreon. It's a lot of fun. Especially now that we have like two really, really good knowledgeable individuals in here. We have our official fact checker and his competition, maybe. But no, it's crazy because like most of the time you see the forces of light, they're grossly outnumbered. They're grossly in a terrible position.
Yes.
And for this pivotal moment, they're actually not. They're actually in a super advantageous position. And to add advantage to advantage, which as everybody that plays D&D just went, you can't do that. They had Cad Swain there. And Cad Swain is just sitting there like a third age channeling rendition of Radar. Oh, no, they're over there. Oh, they're over there. Just throw. She's literally telling people to just throw fire and lightning at mountaintops. And they're like, but there's nobody there. And she's like, if you wait, it's too late.
Yep. She's like, and she's got her little paralysis net. And one of them is a detector for Sidene. And one of them is a detector for Sidar. And it's like, soup over there. She's like, there. And they're like, kill that over there. Just everything in that general direction. Kill. Which, Ashaman are pretty good at.
I was born for this, molded by it. Taim didn't let me wash my own clothes with hands until I was already a man.
Love it.
What's up, Daniel?
Oh, I said there is the one sad part about that scene, which is that they do lose An Ashaman.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, is this where the one's like driven to like a childlike mindset?
No, Aaron Gar
that's actually
kills...
when Eben Hopwell is when Eben Hopwell dies. The other one is when Rand gets attacked in Kyrian. Somebody hits another one, and I do not remember his name off the top of my head. That's when he turns into child, and Rand administers the you need to go sleep for.
Yeah, because Eben is the one that reveals that Arengar is channeling Sidene. Yeah,
that's right. because Arengar at this point in time is in the body of a very voluptuous lady.
Yes. Pretty cool. I love how though it was like your scene, and I just like pseudo monopolize like the explanation of it.
No, you're good because it was awesome. I mean that's part of what I love about that scene is that it's so simple and so big and complicated at the same time. And there's just so much to unravel there. I mean, we could probably do an episode about cleansing of Saidin.
We probably should. Let's add that to the list of tangents. That,
you know what? We're going to put that on the list.
On.
We're going to put that on the list.
Are we ready for the next moment? Mine.
We're ready. We're ready.
I'm going to go with one that tugs at the heartstrings for sure. It's one of the earliest tugs on the heartstrings. It comes from The Great Hunt. It is, of course, Ingtar's Last Stand.
Oh, Ingtar.
It is
so good.
A story of desperation. It is a story of hope. It is a story that actually, contradictory to what the White Cloaks do, actually emboldens their biggest ideology that no one is so far gone to the shadow that they cannot return to the light.
That's right.
And that's exactly what Ingtar does and was prophesied to do. That's one of the crazy parts. It was prophesied. There was a prophecy that 5 would ride forth and only 4 would return.
Yep.
And Ingtar sees the Shan-Chan coming with all their insect helmet bullshit and says, you know what? No, here is where I make amends for doing some really, really shitty stuff.
Well, and Ingtar at this point in time is kind of, you don't know about him. He's got this zeal that is questionable. You don't know, like it's like, dude, you're trying way too hard here, and you don't know what's going on, but he keeps going forward and going forward, and by the end, you're like, yeah, dude, God, Ingtar, you're just like a bad dude, like you're just awesome. And then when he takes his final moment, he's like, no, I'm doing this to protect you, and I want you to tell them, and it just, and you find out that,
damn it, Daniel,
his affiliations, and you find out his feelings about that, and using
it's all at one time. Like, that's the craziest part. It's all at one time. In the same stroke, you have to deal with the peril that they're not going to get away. Then he's like, I'm going to stand here because there's nothing about Ingtar really that makes you not like the guy leading up to this point.
Right.
Like, there might be a couple sketchy moments, a couple like, oh, I don't know why he's like that, but okay. And it's like, now it's like, oh, okay. He's going to give his life for other people. That's definitely the soldier thing to do. And what turns it all on its head is his revelation. I gave my soul over to the shadow, but I hadn't, because he didn't really have much of a choice.
No.
He did it for his family. So he did a terrible thing for the most noble reasons. Trying to save his family, he agreed to serve the Dark. That's when we find out how the Dark Friends got into Faldara and how all of this happened. Ingtar let them in. And it's a nice within the same book culmination of the Ingtar arc. He is the one that allowed Dark Friends into Faldara. He is the reason Padden Fane and everybody else escapes and steals the horn and the dagger from Shadow Logoth. And he rounds out his own kind of story arc in the same book, which is not unheard of, but relatively rare for Wheel of Time.
Right. Yeah, no, Ingtar is a really great example of a character doing the best that they can while also I'm trying to find the right words for it, because he's kind of like walking the line, right? He's kind of walking a tightrope. He's kind of like, I'm going to join the shadow to save my family, but I'm also going to not. I mean, and he's trying his hardest. He's doing what he legitimately thinks is the best thing to do, and as such, he's not really affecting any sort of change or intentionality in the world around him. And in this moment where he realizes he's about to die, he's faced with his own mortality, and he goes, you know what? My entire life I've done what I think was right. I did what I thought was the right thing to do, and I've been in the passenger seat in my own vehicle of life, and I don't like that. I'm about to die having accomplished nothing, and my soul is now bound to the shadows. So what did it do for me? What did it do for me? In the end, absolutely nothing. And he kind of has this moment where he says, no, not good enough. I refuse to partake. I refuse to continue. This is the moment where I make my stand. This is the moment where I save the Dragon Reborn so he can save the world. And I hope that what I do here is enough to allow my soul back to the light. And it's such a powerful moment.
He's Rocco.
Well, and I love two things about this. The two things that I love about this scene are, A, it kind of, it's either a parallel in some ways to Varian later on in the series, where since Ingtar knows that he's dying their way, because he has now made a decision that is what gets him killed. One of two things is true. Either as a dark friend, he has taken oaths that mean that he can't do it until the hour of his death, and so he's using that loophole. Or he's standing there being like, I have made oaths, but they don't mean anything because I'm just going to go buy you time. And if the Dark One takes my soul now and I end up dying, it's what I was going to do anyway, so it doesn't freaking matter.
Right.
And that sort of thought process that he has. And the other thing that I love about this scene is the line that Morshadi actually just put into the live chat, which is Rand's last line to him is the sort of like most honorable death, funeral, whatever rates that you can get in Shinar or in really the Borderlands in general. I think.
Right.
And he tells the Ingtar, knowing what he's done, and Kieran is like, you can't, like, he doesn't say anything, but he gasps. Like he's kind of sitting there being like, what is,
you can't do that.
I don't know if we lost Daniel
again. Yep, I think we're losing him again. No, but
it's cool because like the whole reason he's doing this is because the shadow continuously threatens his family. Do what I say, do what we say, do what Shaitan wills, or we'll kill your family. And I think they can all still hear Daniel in Discord, but we can't hear him here in Zoom yet.
Oh yeah, we lost him in Zoom.
But in this one stroke, his goal this entire time has been like keeping his family safe. And okay, you don't. Okay, I saw his little like light thing light up, but anyway, he accomplishes his goal of protecting his family while also redeeming his soul. Because without him to be there to be manipulated, there's no reason to threaten his family because his family is in no standing to affect change or intercede for the shadow.
Right. So
his family is now safe. He's redeemed himself, at least partially in the eyes of the light. He's helped right the wrongs that he at least partially enabled. It's a really nice wrap up within the same book, and I that might be one of the parts of it that I enjoy the most. It's not an arc we have to wait 2, 3, 4 books for it to be wrapped up. You know.
Yeah. No, it's there. It's one and done. It's a good one. It's a good one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
We have Daniel back. I think he's next.
Yeah, Daniel, hit it up. What's the next love of Wheel of Time that you love?
I'm going to say that sort of the second one that I have, the one that is number 2, is actually in the very last book. It is the moment where Logain decides that he is a hero, basically. It's that moment where he looks out and he sees the opportunity for glory, and he sees the opportunity for helping, and he chooses to help rather than to forward his own agenda. And I think that it's definitely a thing that he has done in the past in some ways, because there are other things that he could be doing than what he is currently doing at a number of times in the books. But this is like a very direct, very like one-to-one kind of situation where he's looking at, my life could go this way or this way from this point. And I love that moment where he decides, like, for himself and for like in a really meaningful way, I am going to go this way rather than that way. Now, that one is actually a storyline for a character that we have to wait many, many, many books for.
That's true. No, I like that too, because I think in that moment you can say that moment is the birth of the tower. And I don't mean, obviously we've had the Black Tower, for numerous books now. But the entire time it's essentially been go, Andrew.
I just had what I feel is a groundbreaking thought, but I know people have brought it up before. One of the core themes of the Wheel of Time is balance, right?
Right.
The White Tower stands, is built, stands, is broken, then is rebuilt, reunited, stronger than ever. The Black Tower is built, breaks with Taim and Logain in the Civil War there, and then is rebuilt stronger than ever. I just feel like I had a mental epiphany that everybody else said, yeah, I had that 5 years ago, but I'm going to.
No, I really like that. That's a good cut.
It was worth interjecting.
It also underscores how
and I love
closely
how,
related they are, exactly like you said.
Those two civil wars. Yeah. Well, and I love how those two civil wars sort of in both powers are executed so differently. But at the same time, they are the same, if you will. It's the same problem. It's just different as set executions of what actually that looks like. And granted, I mean, like, we'll say that obviously the situations are totally different in terms of this one's new and this one's been around for 1,000 years or 3,000 years or whatever it is. But at the same time, it is still, I love that you can have the same storyline that gets told two completely different ways. And they can both still be the same storyline with a very, very similar theme and a very similar lesson in some ways, in completely and utterly.
Yeah. And so what I was saying about this is we've had the Black Tower for many, many books now, and it's been largely leaderless though. Now, granted, we give Taim a lot of credit for founding the tower and recruiting and organizing recruiting parties, but you can make the argument that he wasn't actually building a tower on the foundation of any kind of mission other than to recruit for the shadow. So once Taim is destroyed, the civil war, the civil war at the tower has been fought and won by the forces of light. And now people look to Logain as the new leadership. And he has that moment, like you were saying, he has that moment where he goes, I have a choice, personal glory or to build up this organization and be a leader in the community and protect the weak, kind of a scenario. And he gives up on the Sangreal that he was looking for, and he starts organizing survival and refugee holding areas and gateways for healing, and he just picks up the reins. And I really feel like the Black Tower of the Fourth Age is born in the fire and blood of the last battle.
Well, and I love that you brought that up, because I think that it's very telling and it's very interesting to me for the sort of the two combating things about the mission for the Black Tower, but both people, in a lot of ways, at least at the time that the Black Tower starts, don't think that many of them, if any of them, are actually going to make it past the last battle. Because
That's
of course,
true.
Rand goes, I need weapons. And they're probably all going to die during Tarmangaiden. And that is kind of okay. I mean, like, obviously, I'm not really okay with it, but, like, I don't really have an alternative here. So,
right,
we need weapons, make me weapons. If they all shatter in the last battle, so be it. And Taim goes, well, I'm going to recruit for the Shadow, and I'm going to go ahead and turn a shit ton of people at the Black Tower. And then in the last battle, they're going to fight for us, and then the wheel will be broken. And it won't matter, because then time will be done. And then, of course, you have Logain, who comes in as a later addition. And his entire role at that point is to stop Taim from doing what he wants. So nobody's actually really thinking about a post-Tarmangaiden battle or a post-Tarmangaiden Black Tower until this moment.
Yeah.
Like, this is the moment where, as you said, it's sort of like the Fourth Age Black Tower is birthed in this thought by Logain, because it's the first time that anybody's really sat down or even like thought, what happens now?
What happens
They've
now?
all been thinking what happens to this point, but what happens now?
They didn't practice their golf swing. They didn't follow through the hit. And thankfully, they still got a hole in one. Well, I don't know if I'd call it a hole in one. It was at least a par 2, par 3.
It's birdie. They got a birdie.
Okay, that's fair enough.
And all that was a great moment. That was a good moment. And I mean, Logain gets a little bit of an immediate gratification where people start coming to him and they say, when our sons are old enough, we'll bring them to you for testing. And he's just kind of like, why? Oh, that's right. We're the good guys. Oh, wow. And
you know how hard it was to not say that, like, anytime I've gone to get a COVID test? It's like, well, my sons are old enough, I shall bring them to you for testing.
Andrew. I love it. What about you, Andrew?
I swear, if one of them had a Will of Time tattoo or memorabilia, anything at all, I would have definitely said it.
Oh,
definitely. Yeah. No holes barred.
That would have been epic.
The best part would have been them looking at you and being like, what? And then you being like, pointing at their tattoo or something and being like, oh, I didn't finish the series.
Why do you have to ruin it, Daniel? It was such a beautiful thought.
That's how my life would go, though. That's like, I gave like the ideal take. Daniel came in with the most realistic take.
Okay, that's fair. Oh my God.
Well, let's see. Where do I go? Because there's a lot of really feel good moments that I think are really good honorable mentions, but
Try and find the one that just had you like in its grasp as you were reading. At least that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
For feel good reasons, not for like, oh shit.
It could be oh shit.
Well, not the good kind of oh shit. Because anytime anybody says like, what's that scene that grabbed you and just made you like have a visceral reaction to? It's
That's fair.
during the Trolloc siege of the Stone of Tyr, with the girl, the little girl.
Yeah.
That he tries to cast Raise Dead on and rolls a nat
That was
one.
rough. That was rough.
But I'm gonna go with Rand's moment atop Dragon Mount, which is not what I thought I was about to say, but that's what I'm gonna go with.
So good.
Oh, because you've had this tension with Rand and his mental struggles and his inner monologues with who he thought was Luthern, but was just, some DID going on. That finally culminates in a point, and it seems like a bit of a precursor, kind of foreshadow almost thing to the last battle, that like this is a make it or break it moment.
Right.
And obviously it's preceded by Tam showing up, which I wasn't going to just include in the same scene. But you get this really heartwarming moment. Yeah, well, you get a heartwarming moment with Tam showing up and Rand and Tam being finally reunited for the first time in all but 2 books?
Since book 1.
Yeah. Since book 1. And then you get this heartbreak of Rand almost killing his dad. And then the heartbreak continues to Rand having this whole crazy monologue in his head. Finally, like, it's a bit of an emotional, angry release of how he feels, where he's just like mentally laying out everything that he's been dealing with and feeling and the expectations that he feels like the world has of him and all this stuff. And he gets to this defining moment where he's either going to self-toaster bath or not. And through the build up to that comes away. You can say healing some of it or segmenting it off. I think more ultimately it was standing on the edge of a precipice, of a void, and it forcing his brain to go, hey, this is who you are. And it forces his mind and mentality into a segment where he's like, this is who I am. And he finally accepts who he is. Luthern's voice goes away because it was never actually there to begin with. It wasn't actually like another soul or another voice inhabiting his mind. He finally accepts who he is and comes away, and like immediately the world is better off for him having found peace within himself. So it's like a 13 book build up to a final release. Like, that is the longest edging I've ever heard of.
Can I just say I love the idea of Rand like standing up against standing right on the edge, and his brain and his body just like no, don't actually do that. We've actually been screwing with you for the last 2 years. But now that you're actually going to take all of us down with you, it's time that we tell you something.
For real, though. I think there's a couple things that I love about this scene in particular, because it's a nice callback to the theme that we've discussed over and over again on the show. And that is that the only difference between good people and evil people in this story is that good people had a support structure. They had people there with them. And in every single one of these cases where Rand is making one of these big, huge, earth-shattering moments, he's got someone there with him. Now, he doesn't know it in this particular case, but Perrin is in the dream world, standing there watching him kind of go. And at this point in time, I think Rand is like doing this weird phase thing where he's like in and out. Like the pattern is really, really thin around him. He is like ready to just balefire. He's ready to throw balefire through the Choden Call key and just hit everything. He's ready to just be like, let's just end it all right now.
Is this perhaps the tantamount tavern at work? The tavern needs the anchor point to affect change in the pattern. Rand being at least equally strong, but generally the strongest ta'veren of the three. This is ta'veren giving a glimpse of what is actively happening in the real world and the waking world. Yeah, I mean, yes, but also no, because Rand at this point, he's not just talking about balefiring like physically the mountain and everything. He feels that with the Choden Call and this much power, he can balefire creation itself, that he can balefire the Lace of Ages. So is he drawing so much? And because his headspace is in this point, he is physically kind of everywhere, but also nowhere. This kind of omnipresence, it's through like a sort of like weird ta'veren astral projection nature kind of thing. And because of that, Perrin can see him in Teleron Riyadh and actively engage with him rather than somebody that just sporadically steps in and out.
Well, and I love the parallel that this gives between the original time that the dragon felt hopeless. And this, because what happened the first time the dragon felt hopeless? It was Lews Therin. He had just gone through some very traumatic things. He had killed a lot of people. And then he balefires himself basically into a volcano. And this time, Rand is thinking about doing the exact same thing to a certain extent, except that now the Choden Call are built. And he can just grab from there and go, I can finish what the original dragon started with the small and just call it down on not only this point, not only just me, not on this mountain here, but literally everywhere all at once, everywhere all the time all at once.
That's right.
And he decides not to, which is the right choice. But it's definitely still a parallel of the hopelessness that Lews Therin feels when he is brought up to basically the same situation. Obviously, it's different in event, but like it's still at that point where he has done something so horrendous and feels so much shame and so much guilt and so much hopelessness that he does not feel like there is salvation. And Rand comes out the other side with salvation. Lews does not. And that's the difference between this dragon and that dragon. But it's a great parallel moment that I think, Robert Jordan just does these so well, of the callback of the this isn't just an off event. I've been thinking about this and planning this since I did the prologue of book 1, that kind of thing. And it's, or at least, if I wasn't thinking about it at the prologue, I've thought about it later and went, ooh, how can I bring prologue back? And it's a brilliant style of writing that really does bring everything.
There's another mirroring in there, because Lews Therin and the 100 companions ride forth because they reject the plan of using the Choden Call. And when Rand stands atop Dragon Mount, struggling with his own sense of self and identity and what's happened to the world, he again, as the same soul, rejects the Choden Call as the answer.
Ooh, good call. I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely right there.
Crazy. I'm having brain blast today, guys. I'm too dangerous to be around this.
Someone's been drinking their dubby.
Yes.
He's dangerous to be around normal people.
No, like, and this is one of the fun things about listening to other people talk about this kind of stuff. Subtle plug for why you should go and listen to panels at different conventions. Is that as other people are thinking, like, things come into mind, and like I literally, like, that's the second kind of quote unquote mental revelation that I've had this episode, and it's this parallel of 3,000 years ago, Lews Therin rejected the Choden Call. Says that is not the answer to stop the world's evil. And Rand is sitting here facing the same question. How do I stop the evil in the world? How do I make a better world? And he has the Mel Choden Call, and he's pulling through it. And he's like, I can literally obliterate creation, which is terrifying. And ultimately, he rejects the notion that the Choden Call is the answer. Which, I'm not going to lie, kind of feels like maybe Robert Jordan saying something about a certain thermobaric style weapon that has been used in human history. Like, hey, maybe we don't go for the nuclear option.
Well, and that's a really great point, and as we know, we've seen, numerous different callbacks to reality in real life and mistakes that governments and people have made, and they do things and only to find out 10 years later, oh yeah, that was a mistake, that was definitely not what we should have done there. No, I really like that he rejects the Choden Call as the answer, because that you're absolutely right. He does make the correct decision, and based on that is able to. I don't think he uses it again, does he? He destroys it, right?
He doesn't. He doesn't destroy it, but he also doesn't ever use it again. But one thing I actually want to add here is I think I just had sort of a revelation as well, just like our buddy Andrew here, because of course, thinking about what you just said as far as atomic bombs are concerned and such, yes, he does reject sort of the nuclear option when it's bad, when it's going to hurt people, when it's actually going to do destructive things. But what does he use the Choden Call for?
Cleansing of Sidene.
So it's not necessarily saying that nuclear whatever is actually bad. It's just that, what are you using it for? What
are you advocating for nuclear energy right now? Is this a nuclear energy sponsorship commercial?
I'm not necessarily advocating for anything, but I am saying that I think Robert Jordan was making a little bit of a point of not everything can, or if used correctly.
Oh, and he does destroy it. He does shatter the access key.
That's what I thought.
Which actually I read, which is no different than me reading what Morshadi said, but yes, he pulls in as much power as he can through the Saw Ungreal access key, and is like, you know what? No, this isn't the answer, and pushes it all back into or through the access key again, right, purposely destroying it.
Yes. That's a good one. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I went through a lot of stuff when I was thinking. Have we all done two?
I think so.
Josh has not done a second.
I didn't think so. Josh, you're second, and then we'll fast rattle off some like honorable mentions, maybe.
So my scene that I just absolutely loved is the forging of Mahonir. It's just too good. Perrin gets into his into his head. He's just kind of tink, tink, tap, tap, tink, tink. What am I doing? What am I doing? Where am I going? What am I trying to do? How am I doing this? And one of the Ashaman, just trying to be nice, comes over and is like, hey, if you want, I can just heat that up for you. And
I think he says he's going to channel to keep the metal hot, so he doesn't have to keep putting it back in the furnace.
He's like, I can just keep that warm for you, so you don't have to keep going back and forth. And Perrin goes, yeah, hey, thanks, I appreciate that. Just keep it to about a yellow, mild yellow color. And he goes, cool, yeah. So he starts channeling into it, brightens up the metal, and then Perrin just like goes right back into what he was doing. Doesn't care, doesn't notice a damn thing, and it's just tink, 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 and he's thinking, and he's in his, and around him is this chaotic scene because a couple of other Ashaman start looking, hey, what are you doing? He goes, I don't know, it just feels right. And he's channeling into this thing, and they're like, that's not fire anymore. That's fire and earth and spirit, and that's, oh my God. And so other Ashaman start coming over, and he's like doing his thing, and it's getting real intense, and he's starting to sweat. And so they're like, here, link. And then the wise ones come over, and they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, I don't know, it just feels right. And they're like, everyone who can channel, get over here right now. And they start like linking in shifts. A, to see what he's doing and learn how to do it. And B, because it's so physically exhausting that he's sweating and collapsing, and just, it's all he can do to keep his focus. And in the meantime, Perrin's over here. Tink, 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 tink. What am I trying to do? Who am I trying to be? What do I need? What do I need? What do the people need? And he's just in it, man. He's so deep in it. And
deep in it.
you have these beautiful scenes of writing where it's this chaos juxtaposed with this serenity that is it's amazing. And at the end of it all, Perrin raises Mahalanir, and he's like, this is awesome. Looks down at the hammer he was working with, and it's worn down to the nub. Looks around him. The grass and vegetation has been scoured, scorched, and is all like blown away, like a big explosion just happened. And all of the channelers, like every last channeler, is sitting around going, and he's just like, what's up, guys? And it's so, and then of course, he wields it for the first time, and he blasts a friggin' Trolloc in the head with it, and it's glorious. It's glorious. It's glorious.
Another example of Sidene and Sidair being used together.
Yes.
But
absolutely.
So Perrin always remarks that it feels warm to the touch, and using it against Trollocs, and honestly, anyone that receives one of its blows, it burns them.
Right.
But that's not even the most incredible feat that it has.
Smite damage.
Yeah, that's searing. It's a permanent cast of searing smite. That's fucking ridiculous. But the most incredible thing is you have Darkhounds, which previously have only ever been destroyed by one weave, Balefire.
Yep. Yes.
And then Perrin shows up with a hammer with a wedge on the back end of it and goes, oh, you have Balefire? I raise you Ma'alanir, and it's capable of permanently killing Darkhounds. Bruh.
Do you know what I love about that? Is their popular fan theory states that a piece of Hopper's soul is imbued into Mahalanir. All the wolves will attack the Hellhounds on sight. without command, without any sort of compulsion. They no, they don't mess with that at all. And so to have that element of like the soul of a wolf in there, and just I love that so much. I love it so much.
I mean, it's this really nice. Go ahead.
And I do want to let you guys know, I am actually about to run out of batteries
Oh.
on my laptop. And there's not a plug here for me to plug into. So I am actually going to say, I'm glad that I stayed to hear your last sort of one that we love. Please keep going with the episode. You guys have more to say. But I am going to say goodbye to everyone. But thank you for having me, even on the road. And I will get back to it so that I can see you guys in about a week.
About a week.
Well, thanks for making it, dude. Seriously.
Absolutely. We appreciate
it. But then we'll actually see you physically the next day. So awesome. So finish up. You guys are talking great, and I fucking love you guys. And I will see you guys soon.
Sounds great, man.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again. Some more studies, right? Power up weapons still stop Dark Friends. They do actually harm them versus conventional weapons. There's so many D&D parallels. Dark Hounds are resistant to are immune to non-magical damage, but if you silver your weapon, aka make it power rot, they're not. But they're not necessarily killed by it. But yes, Mjolnir does straight up one-shot them.
Yes.
Some of what I'm pulling from may be erroneous information because instead of going back through and reading through everything for every episode, because we are not known for our preparation, especially I do pull from internet aids. So there is that. And the one I have says that it does do Shadow Spawn and anyone else on the receiving end of his blows. Though there's no like hints as to it being a certain type of a wielder. But could definitely be very wrong about that. I do feel like reading, it seemed like it was only Shadow Spawn. This might just be like a typo on what we're using, but yeah. Goliath Great Hammer. So, maybe we can do some notable mentions and then some quick final thoughts, and then we can wrap this up.
I'm in. I'm down.
So honorable mentions for me. I kind of already mentioned like the Tam and Rand reunion. Trying to think of what other ones.
Honorable mentions for me. Andral training the Two Rivers soldiers at the Black Tower and telling them they make them right in the Two Rivers, and just complimenting their attention to detail, their precision, and their freaking longbows.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the ending of the Eye of the World. This kind of final battle. Because for me, it really sets in stone and really displays to the reader why the Dragon Reborn is such a pivotal, revered, and feared character by the sheer volume of power that he wields.
I like it.
I think that really sets the Dragon Reborn soul apart from the others.
I like that one.
Matt's rescuing of Moraine.
Oh, yeah. The callback there where Ulver is playing snakes and foxes and actually wins the unwinnable game while Nat is winning the unwinnable game. Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely brilliant. Honorable mention, Egwene fighting the Shan-Chan. God, such a great part.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
So many things just that I just love about this series. You know, Varen Sedai, everything about Varen Sedai.
I'd say most things. I wasn't a big fan of how she pushed the Portal Stones thing, but
Well, I mean,
but that to me was also like kind of one of the sketchiest things she did. That was the point, I think it might have been intentionally written for you to kind of look at Varen and be like, in addition to the Maureen didn't really send you shit. This is kind of sketch, so yeah.
No, that's a good point too.
Let's see. Yeah, so that's Androl. The what's his name in the Black Tower who's weak except gateways. That's Androl.
Oh yeah, Androl.
Androl and Pavara is just a treat every time they're on page.
Oh, yes.
And I expect them to be a treat every time they're on screen.
Androl and Pavara, the dynamic there is amazing. I agree.
Yeah.
It's just a good series. There's so many great pieces to. I mean, Dumais Wells is a constant.
I was literally about to say that. Well, I feel like I keep thinking of once and then I keep forgetting them. Yeah. From Shadow Rising, Glass Columns, I agree, Moshadi. Lords of Chaos, I don't remember that chapter. Crown of Swords, Nynaeve's unblocking. Oh, yeah.
Nynaeve getting around her block. Yeah, that was brilliant. That was absolutely beautiful.
Nynaeve being forced to get over her block. I mean, it was literally a sink or swim moment. So
yes. I mean, in every way that matters. Yeah.
The best scene in the entire series, Fires of Heaven, Sex at Glue. The far snow.
That's right. There's just any way you slice it, any way you look at it, it's a amazing series, and there's so much there to love, and there's so much to chew on and to dig into. And as final thoughts for this episode go is, this is kind of an easy one because this is what we do. We love the books. We love everything about them. I mean, there are things obviously we don't love because we just did that episode as well. But it's just a really great series. And anytime anybody asks me about it, I tell them this is what you need to read, because if you like fantasy, you'll love this book or these books. As far as the scenes that we love, I think the other thing that's really important there is that there's so many different reasons we love them. Some of them we like the story, some of them we like the writing, how the writing was done, and it adds to such a beautiful and diverse experience, and I absolutely love it. Andrew, what are your final thoughts?
I mean, I can go the super cheesy route of saying, to one extent or another, or one reason or another, every scene from the Wheel of Time is a favorite scene. Every moment from the Wheel of Time is a favorite moment, because we're lucky enough to be involved with and part of communities that have been having discussions since book one came out.
Oh yeah.
About, it started off as, what does this mean and what's going to happen in the next book, as everybody was waiting for, Robert Jordan to finish, and then Brandon Sanderson and everything. And then it cascaded into, well, what stuff have we not figured out yet? How did Rand light his pipe? Who was Nakomi? We still have these unanswered questions that maybe we'll get an answer to whenever Origins of Wheel of Time comes out, or WoT Origins, or the title, whatever the title of the book is, because I'm fucking terrible at remembering. But ultimately, almost every scene of the book can be broken down and become a point of conversation. And you need to look no further than the absolute litany of podcasts and YouTube channels and artists and musicians and all that have arisen from this. I mean, just imagine the pure insanity of that. One guy started conceptualizing a story. brought in friends and family and professionals to help edit, to help vet, to help publish a book series. And now there are literally thousands upon thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that are getting to watch the series retold on TV. And there are the same amount of people that are listening to, in our case, morons with microphones and internet access talk about it for an hour to hour and a half every week and put out stuff there. And people come in and they listen and they give feedback and they talk about it and they engage with us and they tell us what we're wrong and they tell us what we're right. And you guys tell us like things, why didn't you think about it this way? Or, hey, I didn't think about it the way you said, I thought about it like this. And these conversations have been happening for literal decades now. So to be the sappy, cliche cop-out answer, every scene of The Wheel of Time is my favorite scene. Might be my most hated of the Wheel of Time scenes. I don't have to agree with every scene, but it's just incredible because there's such an incredible fandom and community that's grown out of it. I feel like I just like politicianed the shit out of that answer.
Nope, you did good. I'm with it. Well, thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. We hope that you had a great time. We hope that you heard some things you loved, and we hope that you thought about things that you loved, and hope that made you smile a little bit today. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for conducting yourselves in an orderly fashion while waiting for your dose of taint. We very much appreciate that. Yeah. From all of us here at the Black Tower, I have been your Sora Von Mahale, Josh.
I have been your Bajan Mahale, Andrew. And here with us in spirit and also on the road, waving the banner as he flies. You better have the flagpole and the banner behind him because I'm sure he's on the bike.
On the bike.
Is our illustrious Aman Khan Mahale, Daniel. We look forward to seeing as many of you as we can at WoTCon. We hope you're there with us as you're listening to this publicly, enjoying the festivities with us. If not, there's always next year along with Jordan Con. But for all of us here at the Black Tower Podcast, we hope you're having a fantastic morning. And in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
You've been having so much trouble just fitting in the tower. We can help you. We will make you sing.